It's the one and only test that can differentiate a bacterial from a non-bacterial acute respiratory infection at the point of care in a CLIA-waived environment right after a 10-minute incubation. So it's a terrific test that doesn't exist today except for with FebriDx.
All right, welcome back inside our proactive newsroom. And joining me now is Doug Ward. He is the CEO of Lumos Diagnostics. And Doug, it's good to see you again. How are you?
I am doing very well, Steve. It is terrific to speak to you. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great, doing great. And you've got big news out today, which is exciting. That's why you're here. You've expanded the FebriDx rollout across the U.S. And before we get into the rollout itself, remind everyone a little bit about the product and the uniqueness of it.
Yeah, as you say, it's a unique product. It's the one and only test that can differentiate a bacterial from a non-bacterial acute respiratory infection at the point of care in a CLIA-waived environment right after a 10-minute incubation. So it's a terrific test that doesn't exist today except for with FebriDx, and we're very excited about seeing its progression here commercially.
Yeah, so let's talk about the rollout now, because what you're announcing today is significant.
Yeah, absolutely. So today, what we announced is the continuation of that commercial rollout that we talked about last time, which was initiated with the Wells Street Urgent Care System, right, which is made up of 166 sites across the U.S. And really, our whole strategy here is to go after what we call the top 100 urgent cares, and that's top 100 based on the number of individual sites within their networks. And we're very pleased to say that we have 4 new accounts that have all come on. One of those accounts, which is a top 100 urgent care center, but it's also a health system-based entity. So the ownership that owns them, so they have multiple hospitals, physician offices, urgent cares, and other treatment sites. So it's a very large system. Within that system, they have 30 urgent cares. They've evaluated the product and they've told us, hey, great news, guys, we're going straight to deployment across all 30 of those sites. So that is a major positive, I think, endorsement for how well the test performs in that urgent care clinical environment and in the benefit that they see by using that test. So that's one of the sites. Then the 3 other urgent care groups are all very large groups. One is a top 10 urgent care, which Wells Street actually is a top 10 as well. So this will be our second top 10 group. And then there's also a top 25 and a top 30 in there. So, we're very, very pleased to see that initial approach that we started with Wells Street is something that is something we're able to duplicate, and we're able to bring it into other, if you will, like-minded urgent care organizations that need a solution like this. And I think it's great to see this success, Steve.
Yeah, and Doug, that success is this 4-stage commercial framework that you've put together, and that's what's attracting all these people that want to get involved with the company. Talk to me a bit about that framework and how it's working.
Yeah, that framework is I would say is more of an internal framework for us actually, and how we are trying to engage with the customer base out there or potential customer base. So number one, like I said, we target the top 100.
Yeah.
Phase being one of our exclusive distributor, the product has sub-distributors who work for them, and they're going after a lot of other accounts, mostly primary care, which is many more entities that they have to go see. And in one of the first stages, whether it's us, whether it's Phase, whether it's the sub-distributors, they have to go qualify those customers. Hey, is this a test that would fit into that environment? Is it going to provide them a benefit? And once we know that and establish that with them, and that's what it's all about, is it's not us saying, hey, you're a qualified, it's them telling us, hey, yeah, this makes sense for us. We think that this is a terrific thing. Does it actually work in my environment? Will it do what you say it does? And will I get reimbursed for the
Yeah.
product as well, right? So which leads to the second phase, which is great. Why don't you see if it does? Validate that process. So that second stage is really that clinical and economic validation of the process. And then the third is really just that full deployment out to all sites. With Well Street, they have 166 sites. 44 of those are in the last stage, which is full standardization. Okay. They also have, 122 that aren't quite into that full deployment yet and network rollout. But that is the next key stage for most of these sites. They'll say do this in 5 or 10 sites to start with, and then they'll start to deploy that out across their network. And that's really where the whole strategy of going after the top 100 comes in that, you're basically, if you will, you're fishing for whales, not minnows here. So like by getting the whales, they make that decision across a half dozen entities, and then they roll it out to the network of 100. And in this case, all 4 of these add up to 260 sites. So it's 4 decisions that roll out to 260 plus sites out there. So that's the whole strategy of that we have, in addition to this 4-step process that we utilize as well, Steve.
Well, it seems to be working. Congratulations on this latest deal, 4 of them, and we'll talk soon. Okay, Doug?
Thank you very much. All the best.
You as well. There's Doug Ward, the CEO of Lumos Diagnostics.